I am Melissa Thompson, 32 years old. Last month, my world shattered at a family dinner in Seattle. The house my grandparents left me became a battleground for my entitled sister and complicit parents. They always favored her while I scraped by. That night, she slapped me, shoved me out, and snarled, "Get out of my house." My parents sat silent as I stumbled into the yard, arm bruised, heart pounding. I stood under a streetlight, staring at the locked door, breath visible in the chilly air. A week later, a package hit their doorstep. My mother left 45 frantic voicemails pleading it was a mistake. I texted back, "Get out now. What time are you listening, and what city are you in?" I'm curious how far my story spreads. A week earlier, I arranged a dinner in my Seattle apartment, hoping to mend family ties. I cooked lasagna from Grandma Dorothy's recipe, the smell of garlic and tomato filling my small space. My sister, Amanda Thompson, 3 years older, arrived late with my parents, sneering at my modest home. My mother, Patricia Thompson, handed me a store-bought dessert, muttering about traffic. My father, Robert Thompson, barely nodded, asking for a beer. I set out appetizers, forcing a smile to keep things civil. Conversation touched on work and my parents' book club. Amanda lounged, scrolling her phone, barely engaging. I mentioned my coding project, a budgeting app. Patricia dismissed it. "That's nice, Melissa. But let's hear about Amanda's venture." Amanda complained about her struggling fitness app, lacking funding. "Investors don't get my vision," she said, tossing her hair. Robert nodded. "You'll find the right one, sweetheart." I bit my lip, used to their favoritism. Patricia brought up the house my grandparents, Dorothy and Harold Wilson, left me. "Have you updated the kitchen?" she asked, too casually. Amanda said it'd be perfect for her. I froze. "It's my house," I said. Amanda snapped, "You don't need all that space, Melissa. I'm starting over after my app failed." My chest tightened. "Grandma and Grandpa left it to me, not you." Robert cleared his throat. "It's a family house. Think about sharing." Patricia added, "Amanda's in a tough spot." "You're doing fine." I pushed back. "Fine? I've worked for everything while you've handed Amanda whatever she wanted." Amanda's face darkened. "Don't act superior just because you code apps nobody uses." The insult stung, but I held my ground. "At least I don't expect handouts." Silence fell. Amanda stood, chair scraping. "You're so selfish," she spat, stepping closer. Her hand cracked across my cheek, the sting sharp. She shoved me toward the door. "Get out of my house," she yelled, as if my apartment were hers. I tripped over the threshold, falling onto the grass, arm-scraping pavement. Patricia and Robert sat frozen, saying nothing. I pulled myself up, tasting blood, and glared at the shut door.
At a coffee shop, hands shaking. I got a text from my colleague, Rebecca Hayes. "You okay?" "Call me." I called, voice low, recounting the fight. "They want the house, Rebecca. They think it's theirs." Her response was firm. "Protect what's yours, Melissa. Start digging." That night, I opened my laptop, reviewing the house's deed and Grandma Dorothy's will. I wasn't giving up. Next morning, the sting of Amanda's slap lingered. The deed glowed on my screen. Grandma and Grandpa's will echoed, "Melissa, you showed us true love. I wouldn't let them take it." Property records showed the house, valued at $200,000 3 years ago, now neared $1 million due to Seattle's tech boom. I called Rebecca. "You need to lock this down," she said. "They're banking on you caving." She recommended Karen Walsh, a property lawyer. I called Karen, explaining Amanda's demands and my parents' silence. "Send the will and deed," she said. "Washington law is clear." I emailed the documents, fingers trembling with purpose. Karen called back. "The will is airtight, 3 witnesses. A doctor's note on your grandparents' mental clarity. Your family's been living there without permission, technically squatting." I was stunned. Squatting? Amanda used the guest room as her office for her failing app. Patricia and Robert acted like the house was theirs. "You can issue a 72-hour eviction notice or sell," Karen said. "Your call." Old emails from Patricia asked about wiring for Amanda's startup. Robert texted about the garage for her equipment. They'd planned this for months, assuming I'd yield. I recalled Grandma Dorothy at 16, debugging code in her garden. "You're tougher than they think, Melissa," she'd said. "Don't let their noise drown you out." Grandpa Harold added, "Build your own path, kid." Rebecca met me for coffee near Pike Place Market. "This is your moment," she said. "They've taken enough. Your college fund, your time, your peace." My resolve hardened. At home, I reviewed the will, deed, and a market analysis. I'd sold the house to the Carters. A young couple with 2 kids. For $850,000, papers signed last week. I hadn't told my family, knowing they'd fight. With Karen, I planned a package, certified copies of the will, sale contract, and eviction notice. The Carters loved the garden and my coded smart home system. They'd move in next month. I imagined Amanda's smug face fading, Patricia's panic, Robert's silence crumbling. For 30 years I'd compromised. Not now. Growing up, my grandparents were my anchor. Their cozy house, with its creaky porch and blooming garden, was where I felt valued. They taught me to code simple games on their old PC. You've got a spark, Melissa, Dorothy said. Keep building, Harold added. My parents, Patricia and Robert, poured everything into Amanda. At 15, I needed a laptop for coding camp. We're tight on funds, Patricia said. A week later, Amanda got a new MacBook. I worked weekends for a used Dell. At 16, Amanda got an SUV. I rode the bus. Amanda has big dreams, Robert said, dismissing my straight A's. You're fine, Melissa. Fine burned. My college fund vanished into Amanda's failed social media app. Unexpected expenses, Patricia mumbled. I worked 30 hours a week, coding freelance to cover tuition, earning a 3.8 GPA in computer science. Amanda dropped out of 2 universities funded by my parents' excuses. I vented to Dorothy. They're blind to your worth, she said. You're stronger than their mistakes. At 17, after Patricia cancelled my science fair trip for Amanda's boot camp, Harold handed me a soldering iron. Fix what's broken, Melissa, starting with yourself. Their belief kept me going. When they passed 3 years ago, their will left me the house. Dorothy's letter read, Melissa, you gave us love when others took. This house is yours to protect. Amanda scoffed. Good luck with that fixer-upper. I invested my savings, coding a smart system, preserving Dorothy's garden. Amanda racked up debt on her fitness app, expecting bailouts. My parents praised her as a risk-taker, ignoring my late-night coding. I overheard them planning to give Amanda the house for stability. 2 years ago, I found a photo of me and Dorothy in the garden. With her note, Melissa, you carry our love forward.
Don't let them steal your fa.
That note fueled my anger. Amanda's slap was their entitlement's culmination. I was reclaiming my worth. With Karen, I finalized the plan. The $850,000 sale to the Carters was notarized. The package, will, contract, eviction notice was sent. They've been squatting illegally, Karen said. You're within your rights. I overnighted it, hands steady. I left for a Portland work conference, needing distance. Rebecca texted, package delivered. Brace yourself. My voicemail flooded. Patricia's voice shook. What's this about a sale? Call me. Amanda's was venomous. You're not getting away with this. Robert's was gruff. We need to talk. I ignored them, focusing on my budgeting app Keynote. 2 days later, Karen updated me. They opened the package. Your mother's calling my office claiming a mistake. Amanda hired a lawyer, Paul Grayson. The will's strength, 3 witnesses. A doctor's note was untouchable after Washington's 3-year statute of limitations. Let them try, I told Karen. The Carters would take possession in 3 weeks. The sheriff could enforce if needed. I pictured Amanda pacing, Patricia clutching the will, Robert staring at the eviction notice. They thought I'd cave, like I had with my college fund, but Dorothy taught me to stand firm. You don't owe them anything, she'd said, debugging code with me. Paul called, his tone slick. The house is a family asset. I cut him off. The will says it's mine. Check the records. He mentioned a contest. You're 3 years too late, I said. The sale's binding. Tell Amanda to pack. Karen confirmed Paul backed off. The case was dead. I stayed in Portland, letting them stew. Rebecca sent updates. Amanda's social media rant called me a traitor. Patricia rallied cousins, claiming I stole their legacy. I forwarded the will and contract, silencing most. The Carters emailed a thank you, loving the garden and smart system. Our kids can't wait, they wrote. Dorothy and Harold would have loved that. Back in Seattle, I met Rebecca at a diner. They're falling apart, she said. Amanda's lawyer dropped her. Your parents want a meeting. No meetings, I said. They made their choice. Amanda's slap, their silence, led here. I was breaking free. 3 days post-package, Paul emailed, admitting defeat. The Carters would move in 18 days. Amanda, Patricia, and Robert had 72 hours or face the sheriff. They're out of moves, Karen said. I felt quiet satisfaction. Their entitlement had no leverage. Amanda's app collapsed when creditors learned of her unstable housing. Banks seized her assets, leaving her with a leased car and debt. She posted online, playing victim. I forwarded the will, and her supporters faded. Patricia and Robert, who refinanced their home for Amanda's loans, couldn't keep up payments. Their suburban home was foreclosed after Chapter 7 bankruptcy hit the news. They moved to a cramped rental, their social circle shrinking. Patricia's book club dropped her. Robert's golf buddies cancelled. Rebecca showed me headlines at a Lake Union cafe. Amanda's in a motel, she said. Your parents' foreclosure is all over the neighborhood forum. I sipped coffee, feeling no guilt. For 32 years, they took my college fund, opportunities, peace. Their choices built their cage. Dorothy's words echoed, actions have consequences, Melissa. Amanda left a voicemail. You've ruined me.
Where am I supposed to go?
I didn't reply. Patricia begged for a meeting. I blocked her. Robert said I'd gone too far. I deleted it. Their guilt trips were hollow. Neighbors who saw me tend Dorothy's garden emailed support. Your grandparents would be proud, one wrote. The Carters sent photos of their kids in the yard, roses blooming. Rebecca and I toasted with iced tea. You flipped the script, she said. They thought they'd break you. My chest felt light. Their greed led here. 2 months later, I stood in my new Seattle bungalow, sunlight streaming in. The small house in an up-and-coming area was perfect. I painted it gray, hung a photo of Dorothy and Harold, and planted their rose cuttings. With the $850,000, I invested in my dream, an education app teaching kids to code, partnered with Rebecca. Launched last month, downloads climb fast. My new life was a clean slate. Amanda spiraled, losing her car and motel rent, working part-time at a coffee shop, living with strangers. Her social media went silent. Patricia and Robert's bankruptcy stripped their home. They rented a tiny apartment. Their social standing crumbled. A blog tied their foreclosure to family mismanagement. I didn't gloat or grieve. Their choices, favoring Amanda, demanding my inheritance, built this. Dorothy's lesson was clear. Your worth isn't their approval. Harold's advice, stand tall, kid. Their love was my foundation. I blocked Patricia's final plea and trashed Amanda's accusing voicemail. Robert hadn't reached out since the eviction. My app succeeded. A Seattle tech conference invited me to speak. Rebecca cheered as I demoed features. Yeah, you're killing it, she said over drinks.
Dorothy would be proud.
The app passed on Dorothy's belief in building something meaningful. One evening, I drove past the old house. The Carters' kids' bikes leaned against the fence, roses blooming. A sign named the garden after Dorothy. I slowed, taking it in, then drove on.